Welcome back, all young minds, to Social Sciences class, Unit 12, The World During World Wars. We are in the topic Russian Revolution. In the last video, I made an explanation related to the triumph or success of Russian Communist Party or Bolshevik Party, which brought a proletariat government into existence. Proletariat means workers, workers government now. Proletariat. Proletariat government into existence. That is workers' government into existence. Proletariat means working class for the first time got the power to rule the country in the world history. So that's why they made it as proletariat dictatorship, or the authority or control of the workers came into existence, it is said, when they mention about Russian Revolution in history books. Right. Bolshevik Party got succeeded in bringing an armed revolution, but it is we can call political revolution. First revolution that occurred during March is whatever the revolution occurred according to international calendar, or February revolution according to Russian calendar. That is a social revolution, and no political party initiated that revolution. People, even 1905 revolution also, people there themselves, they reacted to the existing adverse conditions. That's it. Any country you see, recently there was a big struggle going on in the United States of America. Even president was forced to stay in a bunker to save his life. Black people revolted. There was an incident. It is not provocated by any political party. No political ideology was there. But George Floyd got brutally killed by a black man got killed by police officer who is a white. That racial aspect it turned into, and whites, all the blacks rose against, and even white policemen they kneeled down and they extended sorry also to the blacks, where they to pacify blacks, and blacks took a back after seeing the honor given by the police that particular states, United States of America. So this such revolutions are called social revolutions. If many people around the world, the entire world was at the back of the blacks on that particular occasion. But because this was not appreciated by any decent and democratic governments. Maybe blacks, in the name of color, in the name of complexion, in the name of language, in the name of region, in the name of religion, in the name of language or slang, one can't be discriminated. We can't discriminate anyone. So here, very categorically, Russia was successful in getting a proletariat government for the first time in world history into existence. A government where the workers will be having more power. How it is workers' government, I'll make you learn now. Before that, let us see what are the promises made by Communist Party, which were explained to you in previous video, but once again I am remembering you. Communist Party or Bolshevik Party of Russia, led by Lenin, Vladimir Ilyich, who is popularly known as Lenin, promised the nationalization of agricultural land. Nationalization means all the land under control of feudal lords and kings, emperors, that will be brought under the control of the government. But once it comes under the government's control, it will be everyone in the society will have a right upon that property. Nationalization means jati-karana in Telugu. Means once any property gets nationalized, it will be belonging a public property. It will be going into the control of the government, and government is the custodian of public. So it will become a public property. Everyone will have equal share or right upon that property. So this Bolshevik government promised nationalization and distribution of the nationalization of agricultural land, means it will collect all the land from the feudal lords and so on, and again according to the need, according to the available people, it will be equally distributed among the people. The land will be, whatever the land is collected from all sections of the people, first it will collect and it will redistribute. It will divide and distribute equally to all the people so that everyone will have equal economic opportunity to prove themselves. Means everyone will get equal share in the agricultural land and everyone will become a owner of it. Right. And peace, he promised peace to the army. That's why soldiers also joined with the Bolshevik party. They also formed the Soviets. Soviets are the councils. Peasant councils are there, women councils were there, student councils were there. They're all councils are called Soviet. Women Soviet, student Soviet, workers Soviet, laborers Soviet, industrial workers. Workers means industrial workers. Laborers means agricultural laborers. And serfs, Soviets were the peasants council there. So peasants, right? So peace to the army, bread to the hunger stricken mothers, bread to the hunger stricken mothers, and a constitution based on the style of German constitution. Got it? So I think you got it now, right? In this way, it promised before the revolution, but so that many people, almost 80% of the people joined in the first this revolution which got organized, political revolution that got organized by Bolshevik party. And when Bolshevik party organized the revolution, there was a provisional government which was headed by, provisional means temporary government which was headed by Mr. Kerensky, Alexander Kerensky. And Alexander Kerensky failed to meet the needs of the people, that is, he was unable to provide the required bread for them. And he, instead of stopping the war, continued the war in the name of image and the legacy of the country. So he soon became an unpopular one. As already explained, Alexander Kerensky is none other than head of Menshevik party in Russia. Menshevik party also had socialism as its important aim. Bolshevik party also have, but Bolshevik party is a radical one, Menshevik party is a moderate one, which believes in gradual change in the political system. But whereas Bolsheviks are not like that. It will not happen gradually, immediately it should be happen, and for that purpose, we even pick arms, weapons against the government, was the saying of Bolshevik party. Both followed the socialism advocated by Karl Marx only. Right. So with their radical approach, Russian Bolsheviks were successful in claiming the power by a coup. What is a coup also explained in the previous class to you. But it armed rebellion, right? It is very important, and again you will be coming across this word COUP, coup, in the coming course of history, right? This is what happened. After coming to the power, Lenin kept his promise. He nationalized the land, banks, industries, all were brought under the control of government. Land was distributed to the people who are experts in agriculture equally. As he was successful in giving bread to the women who hunger stricken mothers, and he brought peace by suspending Russia from the war field. That is, they went for a compromise with Germany. As a result of that, they made a treaty with Germany called Brest-Litovsk Treaty in December 1917, and they got withdrawn from the war field. Got it? And according to Brest-Litovsk Treaty, 6 states which are lying to the west of Russia, in western part of Russia, were given away. Poland, Finland, Ukraine, Lithuania, Livonia, Estonia, they were given away to Germany. So, in this way, he brought peace to the soldiers. And they were busy in making a constitution which will be making a resemblance of German constitution. But peace did not come now. Revolution was successful, but there wasn't peace. Already I said, white armies. The army which was in favor of monarchy, or the people who are against communist revolutionaries, feudal lords and so on. They got a good support from the Western democratic nations, capitalistic nations who follow democracy, called France, England, so on, Western European countries. Why? Because capitalism is deadly against communism. Already I said, in a capitalistic society, goods and goods are produced and distributed by private individuals with a motive of profit making, benefit making. But in a communist or socialist society, material production or goods production and distribution will be owned by, controlled by government, and it will be monitored, it will be the motive of well-being of the people. What will be the ultimate motive? Welfare of the people, well-being of the people. That is the basic difference between capitalism and communism. Here, government only produces goods and services, and it will distribute, and whatever the profits, minimum profits it will get, that again it will be spending for the well-being of the people by constructing education institutions, hospitals, and so on. So, in this way, they tried to bring a change in the Russian society. Of course, Russian society started experiencing a different scenario. Now it started becoming industrialized, it started becoming modern, and there is no scope for any inequality or exclusive aspects are not there. What is exclusive aspects? See, if a state want to be a welfare state, that state in the means here government also none. The state will be ruled by government. The government ruling that state have to see all the people in the country with equality, irrespective of their caste, creed, race, sex, region, religion, gender. Then only that state is called a modern state, and a modern state will be giving welfare, it will be becoming welfare state. What is welfare state? Again, I will come back in when I explain Great Economic Depression. GED next topic. By next video, we will be coming across that. I will explain you what is welfare state. So, welfare state is that where everyone will get basic minimum needs like food, shelter, and they will not suffer because of the lack of these food, shelter, clothing, and so on. So, Russia underwent a change. That fellows who dominated the majority of the people in the country, who treated ill the people like capitalists, kings, feudal lords, no more. Now all are equal. A real socialistic principle came into existence. But it all were given equal economic opportunity by getting equal share in the agricultural land. And no one is rich now, no one is the poor. So, this certain point of time it got failed. Why it got failed? That I will explain within short. Before that, there isn't peace in this state. Amid of revolution up to 1920, there was an internal war going between white armies and red armies. Red army belonged to Bolsheviks under the leadership of Lenin. Of course, now it became official army because the Bolshevik party came to the power, and white armies who are supporters of the old monarchy and who are deadly against communists and who got support from the Western countries like Britain, France, Italy, and so on, who did not like communism, they revolted. This led to a civil war. Civil war again will come across in certain parts of history. Civil war. Yeah, don't misunderstand. Civil war means a war that is fought in civil dress, not in uniform. It's not like that. Civil war is a war that occurs among civilians or citizens of a country. People will get divided into two. One will be supporting one ideology, other will be supporting other ideology. And a fight exists between these two groups. Actually, here mostly majority people are not there with white armies to call as a civil war also. It is a war between white army and red army. But when civil war, this word we will come across in history again. I think the second chapter will be coming across. So civilians, when they get divided to just America, I said George Floyd, the murder of George Floyd by the police. So divide American society into two whites and non-whites, or whites and blacks. Blacks are supported by non-whites also. What is the difference between non-whites and blacks? Blacks are Afro-Americans, and the non-whites are the Americans who came from different parts of the world other than Africa. Right. So, white domination was condemned strongly, but whites, they supported the police officer. They are trying to fight certain whites, not also all whites. Any area you can't generalize things. But it is a fellow in a community is a criminal, we can't blame the total community is a criminal. We have to learn. But there will be good and there will be bad in every community, every region, every language, every slang, every religion. Good and bad are quite common. Got it? So that's why we can't generalize anything, right? Don't generalize also, right? This is the thing. What happened? Civil war occurred. Civil war in the sense it's not a major war, actually war between the white armies and red armies. But to make you familiar with this word civil war, I used this word. Civil war is the word when people of a country gets divided into groups and they fight against each other. It may be because of ideology, because of some monarchical aspects or something like sexuality, whatever it may be, which leads to the division of the people. So they become rivals and they fight against it. That war lasted up to 1920. After the advent of Russia, Bolshevik party into the power, it dismantled the Russian Empire. Dismantled the Russian Empire means Russian Empire consisted not only Russian and other states like Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, Ukraine. Now these states became free. Now they are not part of Russian Empire. But as soon as they got divided, immediately again they joined with Russia by 1922. Now by 1917, Russia got liberated, dissolved from the Russian Empire, and Russia became an independent country. The independence was granted to these all countries, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Kazakhstan, Ukraine, and so on. They were given independence. But by 1922, they came back to Russia and appealed to Russia to make a part of its union. Why? There are ample natural resources in these countries. Ukraine, huge deposits of petroleum in Kazakhstan and so on. So these countries got worried if they are independent, they don't have that military strength to counter the greedy United States of America, which is having an expansion ideology. Expansion means going and attacking the militarily weak countries, that is imperialism also we can call, and taking control of the countries so that it can enjoy the authority upon the national resources, mineral resources existing in that particular country. So by seeing the expansive policies of United States of America, these states got worried and appealed to the Russia communist government that to make it a part of its union. So as a result of that, along with this Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, Ukraine, other countries like Georgia, Chechnya, Armenia, these also came, Turkmenistan, these also came and appealed and they all became now a part of USSR. What is USSR? Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. What is USSR? Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. By what time they became? By 30 December 1922, USSR came into existence. 1922, USSR came into existence. USSR, Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. Got it? So every state is seen as a Soviet Council, and which follows the socialism and their republics. What is a republic? A republic is a country where the head of the country is elected directly or indirectly by the people. India is a republic. United States of America is a republic because the president of United States of America will be elected by the people and even the Indian president also gets elected by the people's representatives in direct election. But our Lok Sabha, our electoral college, even in America, electoral college will be electing the president of United States of America. Got it? So here, 30 December, this is they became in the USSR. USSR. But 30 December 1920. So now again, once again, Russian Empire came back with a big area, because many more states other than those which are part of Russian Empire before revolution, which got independence after revolution, other than those states, many other states also got joined with, along with that states, other states also got joined with Russia. So now Russia became USSR. Russia became USSR on 30th December 1922. Russia was not USSR when it participated in the World War I. If anyone gives you a misinformation that USSR took part in the First World War, wrong. Russia took part. Russian Empire took part, no problem. Got it? So keep conscious now. Russian Empire, Russia are different from Russian Empire and Russia are also different. After Bolshevik revolution, what happened? Russian Empire got dismantled by Communist Party. Those states got independence. Russia became an independent state, like just India. Got it? Right. Afterwards, they all came back and USSR began. Got it? Before it became a Russia or USSR, it was Russian Empire. Means along with Russia, there are certain states like Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, Ukraine. Few states are there. Got it? After Communist revolution, it became Russia. And then after it became again USSR. Right. So why? Because those countries who got worried that America will attack them and occupy them and their resources will be looted or exploited by Russia, that countries again approached Russia and Russia gave a chance to them to become part of Union, which Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. And that came into existence on 30 December 1920. USSR came into existence on 30 December 1920. And what is the status of, what is the conditions of these people in this United States of United Soviet Socialist Republic, USSR? People enjoyed equality and they had freedom, and there is no exploitation from capitalist kings in the name of king, in the name of capitalist, in the name of feudal lords. There is no one to exploit the labor of hard-working people. Got it? Everyone now enjoying that sort of freedom. Got it? And there is, see, coin have two sides now. Adverse aspect of communist Russia also will be coming across in the very next topic. Right. So in this way, one way Russia became a model for certain youngsters who are struggling for their freedom against the colonial powers or European powers, but in Western European powers who established colonies in Africa and Asia. In that colonies, people who are fighting against this particular colonial powers like Britain, France, Belgium, they all people started admiring certain aspects of this communist Russia. What attracted them more is equality and national liberation. Equality and national liberation. National liberation. Among the popular leaders in India of that day, well, at the time freedom movement is going on in India against British rule. Britishers quoted India as a classical colony of them. So we are fighting for our freedom. Even World War I got completed. In World War I also we were forced, without asking any Indian, they made Indian army to jump into the war field, which was formed in 1880s and so on. Indian army got formed 1880, 1890, right? So equality and national liberation attracted the young leaders of India of the day. Who are the young leaders who got attracted towards this? The man who was fond of communism, communist ideologies, M.N. Roy, Manavendranath Roy, who formed the first Communist Party of India, but it is not named as the Communist Party, Radical Democratic Party, he named it as RDP. Radical Democratic Party. Founder of Radical Democratic Party was M.N. Roy, Manavendra Nath Bengali, M.N. Roy. Bengalis were highly educated in that good old days than other part of India. People of other part of India, Bengalis were highly educated. Why? Because Englishes started carrying their expansion from Kolkata only, Bengal only. They made Bengal, Kolkata as their headquarters, and they carried the expansion of their influence upon remaining part of India. And the result, to attract some of Indians towards them, they encouraged English education institutions and hospitals and so on, with the help of Christian missionaries. So many Indians who are from upper classes started going to the missionary schools and started getting educated in English medium, and now they are able to understand what is written in English books, and now they got the spirit of nationalism, patriotism. So now they started thinking about unity of Indians and so on. That's how our freedom struggle started, and it was initiated by Bengalis only to a great extent. To a great extent, I am saying, not all is done by Bengalis only. To a great extent, Bengalis did, along with that other educated Indians from Bombay Presidency and Chennai Presidency, Madras Presidency. They also came to Pune. So many organizations are there. That's a different story, right? So Radical Democratic Party, he got attracted to the communist class. And actually, he's a communist supporter, staunch supporter of communism. Not only he, Jawaharlal Nehru, first Premier of India, Jawaharlal Nehru. Rabindranath Tagore, a man of versatility. But Indian Leonardo da Vinci we can call. Indian Leonardo da Vinci we can call, poet, writer, musician, etc., etc., etc. But a good painter, but who was very expertise in drawing pictures. So many ways, many-fold talents are there with him. That's why he's called man of versatility. So that is Rabindranath Tagore. And of course, we know him by our national anthem. And we have to know that he did not write all the total national anthem. Some stanzas were written by Rabindranath Tagore. Got it? So Rabindranath Tagore, we say, Bengalis say Rabindranath Tagore because they don't pronounce Va. They don't have letter Va, only they have Ba. So Rabindranath Tagore for us and Rabindranath Tagore for Bengalis, right? So these people suppose they had a soft corner towards socialist aspect or communist aspect of Russia or USSR. But at the same time, they did not support certain other aspects of Russia. What are the certain other aspects we will be looking into? In 1922, Lenin died. After death of Lenin, Lenin was succeeded by Stalin, Joseph Stalin. And Stalin is something different. He believed in unchallenged authority like dictators. All power should be in my hands only. There shouldn't be anyone to question me. Just it is a resemblance of today's India in certain areas. I don't speak about what are they. There are leaders who believe what is the ideology of Stalin is right. That is, there should not be any opposition party existing. They should not raise their voice at all. Got it? Unchallenged authority. What for? Stalin believed that to promote this country, Russia, which economically, to make it industrialized and urbanized and modernization, modern Russia you want to create, modern USSR you want to make, industrialized USSR you want to make. So that's why he wants total political control in his hand. He don't want to give any chance or other. Even now we see the same in China. Even Mao, they did not encourage any political party which raises voice against Communist Party of China, CCP, Chinese Communist Party. Till the date, no chance is given. When we come into next chapter, the China story is there, then we will come across. About Mao also we will speak about. Alright. What is the difference between Mao and Marx also? It is asked in one of the interview in the civil services, right? So, I'll come across. Right. In revision, I'll show that also. Right. Here, Communist Party strongly believed under the Stalin strongly believed there should not be any political opponents. If anyone raises their voice, they will be given very brutal treatment. But after independence, India several times experienced this, and that leaders who tried to do this also, they experienced the bitterness. And surely, if anyone is trying to enjoy that unchallenged authority in India, even in today politics, surely it is a guarantee they will be facing that bitterness what the earlier Indian leaders faced when they tried to enjoy the unchallenged power. It is a conformity. So here the Russian Communist Party under Stalin started oppressing the rising voices against the government. Means freedom of the people is taken off. Freedom of speaking, freedom of expression, freedom of thought taken off. Anyone should not question any program taken by the government. Everyone have to nod their head like sheep. Okay, boss. Everything is done. You say, okay, boss. We should not question. If you question, boss will get angry, and boss will give punishment to us. In a state of fear, the people were ruled by Stalin. But that things were not appreciated by our Jawaharlal Nehru or Aravind Gandhi. Of course, every time he accepts because he is a communist. He dreamt about bringing the same type of government in India. So Nehru and Aravind, they did not support this. They supported the equality which is prevailing in Russia and national liberation. It is they supported. But Stalin, what did he do? No. Immediately after coming to the power, he opted twin policy. First, he made his economic policy something vibrant, which was followed by countries, newly independent countries like India after Second World War. What is that vibrant economic policy? He first time introduced a word called planned economy. Planned economy. Planned economy. Planned economy. Not only economy, Nana, if you want to get success or I want to get success, everything should be well planned. Everything should be well planned. Someone planned well, that's why he was able to achieve his aim or dream to become Prime Minister of India, President of India, some XYZ, Chief Minister of a state. They aimed. Once after aiming, they planned. They planned according to their resources. What are the advantageous aspects in them and what are the adversities of them? They put the adverse aspects in them in a lower end and advantageous things on the upper end, and they elevated themselves and reached their goal or aim. So planned activities must for individual or an institution or any country. All that famous business entrepreneurs you see, at least crystal clear planning will be there. Or achievers, Sachin Tendulkar, or XYZ, whomever see, planning is the must for you, me, everyone. If you want success, but very few people will do this. That's why we see very few achievers, but many unachievers. Many have aim, but here planned economy he made. What is the important aspect of planned economy? Is twin policy. What is that? Industrialization, rapid industrialization, collectivization of agriculture land. Actually, Lenin distributed the land. Now, Stalin took all the land from the farmers. Once again, he brought under the control of the government all the land. Now, farmers will be given a chance to grow the crop, but whatever the outcome is there, that will be taken by the government. The farmers will be paid some money salary for their work on that land. Got it? Why did he do? Why did he do so? He did it because Russia should be independent it should be independent, it should not depend upon others for any aspect, industrial products or agricultural products. Why? Most of the European countries did not recognize the communist government that came to the power in Russia in 1917. It took some 10 years, I think 15 years to the Britain and France to recognize the communist government in Russia. Only after success of 5-year plan made by Stalin. They recognized by 1929. Britain and France recognized Russia by 1929 that as it is a people's government. Until then, they all said that it is not a democratic form of government. It did not come to the power with the mandate of the people. Only using the military power, it came to the seat, chain. So we are not going to recognize. Both they are against communism also. Up to 1929, no old country is ready to accept and recognize the government of Russia or Bolshevik party government. And then when they don't recognize, they don't carry any trade relations with them. Neither they buy anything from Russia nor they supply anything to Russia. And Russia from 1918 onwards started spreading communism around the world. For that purpose, it started a body in 1918 March, that is Comintern, to spread communist ideology and to become champion of the world using this communist ideology. Russia launched, when Lenin was alive, in 1918 it launched or it created a body called Comintern to spread communism. To spread communism, it got formed Comintern. Comminter, Comintern. Again, second chapter we will come across Comintern. I will explain about Comintern. So it formed Comintern to spread communism, and that also irritated the Western powers. They got frustrated. This fellow not only came to power with muscle power, he came to child, and again he is trying to spread his communism around the world. Are we forced to see that? So they stopped supporting his government. They did not recognize. They did not carry any diplomatic relations with this country. Diplomatic relations with this country. So that's why that forces Stalin to have their own economic path. And the result is planned economy. He started making 5-year plans. He is the very first to make 5-year plans in the world, and which was immediately followed by our India after independence. Nehru, our first Premier Nehru, opted it first 5-year plan. A planning commission was formed in 1951. Got it? 1950. Planning commission was formed. Not 1951, no, 1950. Then after we got our first 5-year plan. Now, till the recent, before Niti Aayog came in 2015, there were several 5-year plans that went off. But I think 11 or 9 or 10 5-year plans were there before that, right? So, this is what planned economy started. Rapid industrialization, collectivization. Collectivization of land, all land. If anyone is not ready to give, any landlord is not ready to give. Of course, landlord means who are having more land according to the norms of the government. They are not ready to give. They were tortured. They were exiled, sent out of the country. In this way, by using repressive measures, it collected all the land. Once it collected the land, what did he do? He identified, see, in this particular area, tomatoes should be grown. In this area, wheat should be grown. Here, barley should be grown. In this way, certain demarcation happened. According to that, only farmers have to grow the crop. So what happened now? There is a balanced growth of agricultural products. Once the balanced growth happens, what happens? There won't be shortage of any food grain or any food material. All food materials will be available, and people will have availability of these things, and all products will have good demand. No farmer or there won't be any loss by growing any crop. And it will satisfy the needs of the USSR, all other states which are associated with Russia. People will get without, they don't need anything from other parts of the world. This is what planned by Mr. Stalin. Of course, in present day India also, we are seeing certain rulers who are trying to get this. In revision classes, I'll explain, I'll make a comparison with this, and I'll make you know who is that ruler, who is closely following the footsteps of Stalin in India, in present day India, and what way is trying, and what are the outcomes. We, by the revision time, we may learn, because even outcome also will be there. We will see it, right? Now, collectivization event brought a planned agriculture activity, planned industrialization activity. Rapid industrialization is started. 5 years he put a target. Within 4 years they got completed things now. Such a committed Stalin was, and he was very successful. He brought the desired results. That's why USSR was able to bail out itself from Great Economic Depression that occurred in 1929. He came to power by 24 to 29, 26 to 30 he wanted to complete, by 29 only he completed all the things. 4 years, within 4 years of time, by planned economy. So Russia was able to bail out itself from the Great Economic Depression. Only country to get bailout other than Russia, no one is there from Great Economic Depression, which occurred just one decade before Second World War. 1929 Great Economic Depression, 1939 was Second World War. Got it? And Russia was able to get some prosperity also. Got it? Because of this planned economy of Stalin. So this is one beautiful aspect of Russia, but the negative aspect is that what? Not giving freedom to the people, by and force taking away their agricultural land, and making them to work on their own land, which was given by the Lenin government, the same Bolshevik party government, so on. That right. Like that, freedom is not there, and no political party which possesses it is accepted to raise its voice. These all things brought a criticism to the Bolshevik party government. There are certain writers like George Orwell, O-R-W-E-L-L, George Orwell. He wrote a book. George Orwell wrote a book now. What is the name of the book? Animal Farm. Animal Farm. It is Animal Farm is a sarcastic work. Sarcastic work means it is a sugar-coated pill. See, slapstick comedy we say in the films. What is slapstick comedy? A fellow comes and X comes and wishes Y. Hi, how are you? And the immediate response of Y is, I don't talk to idiots. Y responded that I don't talk to idiots. When X wished him hi, hello, how are you? A question is made, a query is made, and Y responded that I don't talk to idiots. The very next second, X responded, I do. What do you mean? X we should have hello, hi to the Y. Y said, I don't talk to idiots. Then X said, I do. What do you mean? I am having a habit of talking with idiots. So that means without saying openly you are an idiot, what did he say? I do. Means I am having a habit of talking to the idiots. So such a type of slapstick aspect is called sarcastic. What it is? So sarcastic work it is Animal Farm is. Why? Because he treated this particular Russia and the people of Russia as animals, and Russia, USSR as Animal Farm. What is Animal Farm? We have cattle yard in our village. If we go to village, our elder fathers, younger fathers, or our grandparents, there will be a cattle shed. So how the cattle will be in that shed, we all know. Got it? Why did he said it? People were made to nod their head like sheep or cow or buffalo, dudu baspanas. They are not supposed to ask any question. And this work sarcastically he made by making a pig as a hero of the novel. Animal Farm. Animal Farm, a pig is the hero. What this pig says? Actually, certain group of pig are there. A head of pig are there. A man is the owner of them. One of the pig, which is intelligent, one day it starts counseling all the remaining pigs. Sorry, we are disunited. That's why that fellow is able to dominate us. And every week, some few are sent to the market and they are getting slaughtered, killed. So we have to stand together, unite. We have to fight against that exploitation of that fellow. And all the pigs risen. They came together and they were successful in sending this man away. They threatened that fellow so that he will not look back. He was seen as the enemy. And now actually, that fellow is feeding them. But after that man went away, this leader pig started enjoying authority upon them. Hey, you do that, you do this. More than that man. And when any of the other pig try to raise the voice, hey, that fellow will come. You are trying to give chance to that fellow. If he comes, I will go away. Your condition will be in hell. He will take you to the slaughterhouse. He will make it to pieces. By creating an imaginary enemy, it started dominating these all pigs, so that they will keep quiet and follow blindly what is said by this leader pig. So that is the story about animal farm. So George Orwell felt that this is nothing but animal farm. Russia is nothing but animal farm because there is no freedom to anyone to question. So certain criticism Stalin would face, and also sarcastic works means books like Animal Farm also came into existence. But still, communist governments are running on the same lines without giving any chance to the opposition. Even now in China, the same is seen. Any raising voice will be suppressed. They will be strangulating. They will not permit different voice to come out. But a true democratic state will be a state which will give equal chance to all the voices to come. But let 1,000 flowers blossom. Let 1,000 flowers blossom. And then only it is a true democracy. Got it? These people who opposed monarchy, exorbitant power of Emperor Nicholas II, they started carrying that same unchallenged authority, unquestioned authority to communist leaders like Stalin. He was followed by Brezhnev, Androdev. So in this way, several people came to the power. In next video, we will be going into the initial aspect of Great Economic Depression. I'll make a break, and next video will be continued.